just want to share a couple of words. I think it's important. I go back to that night of October 7th. It was a Sabbath evening here in Los Angeles. We were going to bed after putting our kids to bed, and unfortunately my role in the community means that my phone is on 24 hours a day, and just as we were getting ready to go to bed, the WhatsApp messages, the text messages, the alerts started going off. I think I didn't sleep that night. We convened our board the next morning on Shabbat, which has never happened in our 115-year history. And that very day, we made our first emergency allocation to establish the Israel Crisis Fund. That next night, on October 8th, we convened the community at Stephen Wise Temple. We had over 2,000 people come. The mayor of Los Angeles came, a number of you came. And over the next several days, we mobilized this community, including on October 11th, when I joined Federation executives and flew to Israel and met with the Prime Minister and the President. I met with the President of the United States and the head of the House and the head of the Senate. And we began that process, a once-in-a-generation process of reaching out across oceans of time and oceans of space to support each other as a Jewish community. And since then, the Federation has raised nearly $40 million and has put that money to work in Israel every single day. Whether it was paying for funerals, or paying for flights for folks to get back to Israel on an emergency basis, or raising money for iPads and laptops so that schools could go remote, or bring in precious equipment, or helping those evacuees get hotel rooms. Those early days were chaotic and difficult, but because of the work that our Jewish community here in Los Angeles and those across the world made it just a little bit softer for those who needed help. And since then, our work has really centered on the reconstruction and the rebuilding of Israel. We have a partnership with Sha'ar HaNegev, which is an area in the western Negev by Gaza. 11 communities were affected in Sha'ar HaNegev on October 7th. And we have a long partnership ahead of ourselves trying to help rebuild and bring people back to those communities. Similar in the north, there's a section in the north called Galil Elyon, which is the most northern section of the Galil Valley, and we have partnered with them. And I want to thank those who participated. I especially want to thank Moshe Sassover, who is here today, Federation board member and chair of the Israel in Crisis Committee, who has made the allocations on behalf of our Jewish community. Thank you, Moshe, for all of you. My last thank you is to the Federation staff, who stayed up every single night, woke up every morning, flew all over this country, flew over the world, to help our fellow Jews in need. I want to thank you for your dedication over the last 2 years. It has been a time, but we've done it together. So I want to thank you for all of your hard work. Beverly Hills is a unique city. It's one of the few cities outside of the state of Israel that has a substantial or majority Jewish population. That makes it unique in today's context, but it's actually not unique in history. In the 5th century, before the Common Era, there was a small village called Elephantine in Egypt. That was a Jewish majority city of refugees from the first destruction of the first temple. 1,000 years later, there were 2 twin cities of Sura and Pumbedita on the banks of the Euphrates and Tigris rivers that were Jewish majority cities in the land of Babylon. 1,000 years later, there are Jewish majority cities that showed up along the Silk Road in Andalus in southern Spain, in Portugal, in Algeria. In Eastern Europe, 1,000 years after that, there are Jewish majority cities and villages of Lodz and Lvov and Belz and Berdichev. I can go on. Each of these cities produced remarkable Jewish culture. Whether it was the Talmud, or homiletic sermons called Midrash or Jewish law, or remarkable philosophical writings, or songs, or poetry. These cities produced magnificent Jewish culture that shapes our world today. The difference is that none of those cities have Jews anymore. Whether it was an exile an inquisition, a war, or a Holocaust, every one of those cities have been emptied of its Jews. So to me, Beverly Hills is very unique. Because while other cities valorize attacks on Jews, allow for attacks on Jews, this city centers the Jewish story. And so our generation becomes a question. Will we become like other historic Jewish majority cities? And over time, the city will turn on itself, and our Jews will have to yet again pack up our bags and find another place to live? Or will we make a different decision, a historic decision, that in one of the most beautiful places on earth, with some of the greatest food, the greatest light, the greatest soil, the greatest entertainment, the cultural center of America, will we answer this question very differently? And I can say, with the partnership of this city and its largest Jewish organization, the Jewish Federation, and the establishment of this memorial, we are trying to answer that question differently. Monuments are speech. You can read a city like you can read a book. You can see what people care about. If they like bookstores, if people like books, you'll see bookstores. If people like shopping, you'll see shopping centers. If they like movies, you'll see movie theaters. If they like plays, you'll see plays. If they like parks, you'll see lots of parks. And if they like Jews, you'll see synagogues and you'll see monuments to Jews. This city, with the establishment of this memorial, which centers the Jewish story in a very special, cultural, spiritual, dare I say, religious way, makes a statement. And being the first in history to memorialize the victims of our brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, and children who were murdered on October 7th makes a statement. It says we're not going to be like those other cities. We're going to continue to produce magnificent Jewish culture. We're going to continue to be a place that thrives together, and we're not going anywhere. That's why the Federation is proud, very proud, to give the lead gift for this memorial, because we're not going anywhere. I want to end by just sharing that the Jews were finished reading the Torah this week. We're starting it over again next week, don't worry. But we're ending the Torah this week, and it doesn't end with like pretty notes. It's not like the end of a movie with a jib shot that goes back and there's music and there's a rainbow. That's not how the Torah ends. It ends with an admonition. It ends with Moses, at the very last moments of his life, telling this new generation about to enter the promised land that they have to remember where they come from and turn that memory into action. And take responsibility for the future while remembering the past. That, to me, is the question that's put to each and every one of us. As we close out the year, close out reading the cycle of the Torah, we have to understand that our memory is fuel for the future. To live in that memory and to allow that memory to sit as it is or as it was without using it as energy for how we're going to propel ourselves forward, I don't think gets the entire message. And as others have already said today, the memory of October 7th becomes less meaningful unless we use that memory to propel us to become better people, better Jews, for those who are Jewish, better citizens of this country, and stand up for the democratic ideals that were attacked brutally on October 7th. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this monument spring out of the ground, and I look forward to being here again when we open the doors and welcome the world to see the first October 7th memorial right here at home in Beverly Hills. Thank you very much.